Okay, it's just 12 o'clock. Welcome to Hampton Roads Chamber Virtual Chamber Education. A lot of you were with us when we used to do chamber education all together, and we will hopefully be there again someday. But for now, we're thrilled to be able to bring you this content virtually. And as you know, this year we've really pivoted to provide content that is hitting you where you are right now. So today's speaker is Bethany Carilli. She's going to talk about virtual team management, building great teams. She's a business performance advisor with Inspirity. Bethany works with business leaders throughout the community to maximize talent and minimize risks so they can focus on growing their organization. In her previous roles, Bethany has managed teams in the hospitality industry, working in both the Marriott and Hilton hotel brands and the nonprofit sector. She also serves on the board for the Walk to End Alzheimer's Coastal Virginia and is a member of the 2021 Lead Peninsula class through the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce and enjoys volunteering for multiple organizations throughout Hampton Roads. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce you to Bethany Carilli.
Thank you, Priscilla, and thank you guys so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be presenting, especially on this topic. Any resources and tools that I can provide for people right now, especially with this last year that we've had, I'm really excited to do so. So just a quick background about me before I get started. As Priscilla said, I have a background before working with Inspirity in the hospitality and nonprofit sectors. So I have years of experience in managing and building teams. I have been in Virginia Beach now for about 6 years, originally from Pittsburgh, but I'm very happy to call Hampton Roads home. Okay. And Leanna, can you just chime in for 1 second? I apologize, guys. Is everything working from what you can see?
Yes, your slides are advancing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so a quick overview about Inspirity before we jump into today's webinar. First of all, I thought this was very fitting for our organization to be able to sponsor today's webinar to speak on this topic specifically, because we are an HR solutions company that works specifically with small to mid-sized businesses to provide some tools and resources that help attract, retain, and grow the best people in a way that helps businesses drive profitability. So we provide administrative relief to leadership to allow them to spend more time working on their business instead of in their business. We know a lot of small and mid-sized business owners wear a lot of hats, so we're able to provide some relief on that end. And really help give them the ability to provide better resources for their employees, because for us, it really comes back to people. So our office here in Norfolk is newer. We're new to the Hampton Roads area. We've been here for about a year now, but this is our 80th office nationwide. So our organization has been around since 1986, and we have been working with business owners ever since then. So as I mentioned, we are big believers in taking care of your people because we really think that it's the people of any organization that makes the difference. If you take care of your people, they will help drive your business forward. Think about all the changes that we've all gone through this past year, dealing with remote work, many of us for the first time. A lot of parents I know also becoming part-time teachers with kids being at home all day, every day. Handling the stress from this past year in politics and all of the horrible tragedies that are happening across our nation. It's hard not to bring all of that into work. You know, most of us work at least 8, 9, 10 hours a day. So all of that emotional stress that can come from the outside world comes into your workplace. But we believe really that it's the businesses that can be flexible, work with their employees to provide the tools and resources they need to be productive at work and really put their people first, that will be the ones leading the charge once we start opening back up throughout the state. So today we're going to talk about team management and building great teams. But first, I really wanted to step back and talk about why that's so important right now. Some of you all might be working in organizations or leading an organization where you haven't really experienced growth over the past year. Maybe you've had to retract a little bit, get a little creative with how business has been operating over the past year. But as team leaders or business owners, I know most of you understand how important it is to always be looking ahead and planning for the unexpected that tomorrow brings, because all of us saw firsthand over this past year what unexpected events can do to our businesses and our overall life in the blink of an eye. So I just pulled a couple of stats online with the current economic conditions and with everything going on with vaccines for what people think will be happening over the next year. And CEOs are really optimistic that global economic growth will improve throughout the next year. In PwC's 24th annual Global CEO Survey, 76% of CEOs believe global economic growth will improve this year. And the World Bank reported that the global economy is expected to expand about 4% this year, assuming vaccine rollouts continued. And that statistic was done in February, so we all know that the vaccine rollouts are continuing to go ahead as planned. So this looks like this will really prove to be true this year. We all know that building and managing teams is challenging right now for any organization, especially if you haven't had to hire or manage people over the past year as much. Not only are organizations working from home, some of them for the very first time, but there's the added struggle of ensuring that your employees are motivated and productive day after day. You know, we just talked about everything that we're all dealing with and managing outside of work every day. Maybe you haven't had to hire or even manage the same amount of employees as usual over the past year. But as things begin to open up and we start to see the regrowth in the economy, are you prepared to manage that? Do you know how many and what type of employees you'll need to keep up with new demands as they come in? This past year, more than ever, we're seeing businesses understand the importance of putting a strategic plan in place to advance their ongoing recovery and rebuilding efforts. Even if some business has declined in the past year, research like the ones I just mentioned on here is showing that we're beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I really hope that that continues to be true this year. So knowing all of this, I wanted to share some information on what employees are looking for right now. Many people are going to be looking to get back in the workplace if they took some time off to take care of their children, or if maybe they had some layoffs at their organization. There's going to be people that are wanting to get back in the workplace. So as a business leader or manager, or if you're hiring and rebuilding a team, just wanted to provide some stats to know so that you know what will help you attract top talent. So these statistics I pulled from an article that was posted from Forbes last month. They mentioned a survey that was done by Grow Motely, asking workplace professionals and entrepreneurs to share their thoughts on the new work from home paradigm. These are the 5 biggest takeaways from the survey. So the first is that 74% of professionals expect remote work to become standard. This one was a big eye opener for me, is that 97% of employees don't want to return to the office full time. Is your office able to be flexible with that? Even if it's just 1 or 2 days a week, being able to continue that for employees that want to. And if so, are you able to offer that for all of your employees? Because if not, you might be missing out on some top talent that you'd like to hire otherwise. 61% of employees prefer being fully remote right now. Remote work is the biggest draw for top talent. And then finally, benefits have become more important. And that's, I really think, because of people being in and out of the doctors more often over this past year. So like I said, benefits have become more important, specifically healthcare, employee assistance programs. Is your current benefits plan offering what you need it to for your employees to bring in that top talent that you're looking for? I think everybody has access to the little raise hand at the bottom of the screen. If you're able to, if you can click on that, if you're working remote right now, can you raise your hand for me so I can see how many people we have here that are?
Looks like about half.
Thanks, Priscilla. I was going to say, I can't see that, so I'm glad somebody could. Yeah, and that seems to be the norm. At least half of people that I talk to on a daily basis are working from home right now, and many people are enjoying it. It's giving you the flexibility to manage a couple different things at once, and a lot of people are more productive working at home as opposed to being in an office that's more populated with a lot of distractions in there. So at this point, maybe you're ready to hire. You need to ramp up in order to be prepared when the state starts to reopen. So what are the steps to take to do so and know that you're being competitive against other organizations out there? The last thing anybody wants to do is go out and hire just anybody to fill roles because you need to at the last minute. Because maybe if they aren't the best fit or they don't enjoy the role, maybe it wasn't made clear to them in the interview process exactly what their tasks would be. In that case, you stand a greater chance of losing that team member and quickly. Replacing employees can cost up to 60% of their salary. So obviously it's an expensive thing to take on. But it also can hurt the organization's overall reputation if they didn't have a great experience. I know prior to taking any role, I look up an organization on Glassdoor or Indeed to see what reviews from current or previous employees is. And if somebody goes on there and puts a not so favorable post, that can really work against you in the people that you're trying to bring on board. So again, Priscilla, if you can help me take a look at how many people are doing this, can you raise your hand for me if you check out Glassdoor or Indeed or any of those sites before looking at joining a new organization?
There are about 10 people have their hand raised.
Thank you. And I actually figured out how to look at it now, so thank you.
That's okay, I'm here to help. That makes me feel useful.
So this just goes to show you that technology is the way of the world. It's how a lot of people are finding out about jobs. I know I wouldn't be too keen on joining an organization that maybe only had 2 stars on a site like that, because you can really learn a lot from another employee that's worked in that organization. Okay, so then once you decide you want to hire people, what do you need to do to attract that top talent so that you have great candidates to choose from in the hiring process? Long gone are the days of meeting with a potential employee, throwing out a salary number, and expecting that they'll take the job if the price is right. Anyone that wants to, in the chat box for me, can you share maybe your top 1 or 2 needs when joining an organization, whether that's great benefits, attractive pay, trust from your employer, no micromanaging, things like that, so I can kind of see what everybody's thoughts are and what they look for. And while we're doing that, I just wanted to share a couple of stats that I read this morning that I was surprised about. Something new that I think that has come up over the past couple of years is being able to give back through volunteer programs with work. In the survey that I read, overall, 55% of people will choose to work for a company that's socially responsible, even for a lower salary. So one that gives them opportunities to volunteer in the community. And 76% of millennials agree with that too. So even if you're offering a competitive salary, there's so many other factors and things that you can be offering that people might think are more important. So I just want to share some of the things that were put in the chat here, because I think these are great. Good health benefits. I know that's super important, especially these days. Benefits and pay, opportunity for advancement. That's huge. That's always been a big factor for me as well. Coaching and development, education opportunities, freedom to grow, benefits, giving back to the community, flexibility. Yeah, this is great. I appreciate you guys sharing, because these are things that I hear pretty often, and I think useful for other people to hear on the call too, if you're in the process of hiring. So how do you catch the interest of those purple squirrels or those unicorns that you're looking to bring on, that you know are the perfect fit for the roles that you're hiring for? At Inspirity, we put together a list of the 5 top things you can do to be more attractive to applicants that are in the workplace. The first is to develop your reputation. Top applicants, again, are looking for companies who care about their employees and give them the tools needed to thrive. Invest in your people. That goes back to the coaching, development, advancement opportunities that somebody was mentioning in the chat. Number 2 is to connect via social media. Post on job boards, social networks. It's the way of the world and how most people begin their search. If you want people to know about your organization, that you have jobs open, posting on social media and job boards is a huge factor in doing that. Number 3 is to be authentic. Before candidates ever engage with an organization, they're going to find out about the organization. You know, we talked about a couple of sites that are available right off the top of my head that I can think about, like the Glassdoor and Indeed. Different social media posts, or even just people that they've worked with previously. Hampton Roads is a large place, but it's also a small town feel, right? There's a lot of people that know each other, and there's ways to get word out about different organizations. So beat them to the punch and make sure you tell people exactly about the culture of the organization and who you are. Number 4 is to offer advice. Share some job tips and employee testimonials on your career site. Educate people before they even come on board with you. It'll show them, you know, that you're already invested in people before they even start. And then number 5, I can't express this enough, make it mobile. Everything is mobile these days. Make your career site mobile friendly so people have the opportunity to apply and look for jobs right on their cell phone. Everybody's busy, but everybody's always got their cell phone on them and is able to look things up that way. Okay, so then you have, once you've attracted that top talent and you've got some great people that have started to apply for the roles that you're looking to fill, how do you make sure at that point that you hire the best fit? Finding qualified candidates is really just the first hurdle in this. You must also develop some interview questions that get responses that you need to assess each candidate. So these are just some sample questions that we like to put together for businesses that we work with that give you deeper insights into the candidates' personalities as well as capabilities. You want to make sure that they mesh well with the team members that you already have on board. So these questions can help you narrow down the best fit. A couple of my favorites here is, tell me about the most difficult customer you've dealt with. How did you handle the situation? This really goes into problem solving and has them share some experiences in the past with you. Another one I really like is, tell me about an opportunity where you were reluctant to take a risk. What did you do? So it really goes into examples of things they've experienced in the past, and if they've had to take a risk for the organization, and if in the end it was for the benefit of the team overall and the organization. And I see somebody talking in the chat right now. I actually was just about to mention, we're gonna have these slides shared. Feel free to take any of this information and use it. These are great interview questions for you to add to lists that you have right now. So these will be available for you all to take a look at. In the chat, is there anybody who has a great interview question that they ask every time that they love, or that maybe they've used and that they've received in a job interview in the past that really challenged them, that they'd like to share with the group?
I'll share.
Okay, thanks, Priscilla.
I'm in the process of interviewing for a candidate for our communications team. And one of the things I always like to ask them is, tell me a situation where everything went wrong and you made it right.
I love
that.
that.
You can see how they problem solve and how they think on their feet.
I love that. And I like those questions that are a little bit different from anything you've heard in most interviews, because I think everybody can prepare for an interview, but you can only prepare for so many questions. So those are a little bit unique that gets individuals to think on their toes. Okay, Angela shared one that says, I ask all my salespeople to sell themselves to me. If they can't do that, they are not a salesperson. I love it. I will never forget in my first job interview, I went to work at a retail store and they asked me to sell them a pen. I wasn't ready for that. I was 17 years old trying to go out for my first job, and I definitely couldn't sell a pen to them in the retail space. But I agree with you there, Angela. I think that's a great question to ask. So again, I'll have all these posted. So if there's any that you want to use in interviews coming up, definitely feel free to do so. Okay, so then once you've narrowed down your search, you've hired some great people, how do you retain those individuals? Make sure employees are happy, productive, and that everyone shares the same goal for the business. I don't know about you guys, but for me particularly, I'm always looking for growth and challenge in any role that I take on. And like me, a lot of employees crave the opportunity to expand their skills or career path with their organization. They want to learn something new. And if managers and business leaders invest in the talent that's already in their company, they're going to develop a workforce that's more productive and supports the business's overall goals. So at Inspirity, we recommend a learning program which can be created and become part of the company's culture that helps business leaders really get the most out of their team and offers amazing opportunities to employees and overall furthers business goals. So here are 5 steps we put together to launch a learning program. The first is to consider your business goals. What are the skills that are needed to support the goals of the business right now? Number 2 is to talk to your employees. What do they want out of their jobs? What do they want to grow, to learn? What are their career goals? And how can the managers that are in your organization help them get there? Number 3 is to determine readiness. An employee may have potential for more responsibility, but the desire and the skills may not be there yet. So working on that together can help them get to that level. Again, investing the time in your team differentiates managers and employers from other organizations out there. Number 4 is to consider various types of learning. So there's a ton of different learnings you can choose from, and I'll talk in the next slide some different learning programs that we suggest to put together. There's everything from coaching and mentorship to formal classroom training. Obviously, virtual is the way of the world right now, so there's a ton of virtual self-paced classes that are available for employees right now as well. And then number 5 is accountability. You have to have a way to track all of these learning and development plans. Have goals, have check-ins with your employees. Yes, it's going to be time consuming, but people are the heart of the business, and employees deserve to be invested in. Employees, we all work hard, and having an employee who cares and goes out of their way to help their team succeed is really, again, going to differentiate from other organizations that are out there. So on the next slide here, I'm sorry, I know this is probably hard to see, but I, again, will be sharing this so you can read through all of it. And if there's any information that you don't get today, I'll share my information for you again at the end. I'm happy to share any of this with you guys. So here's a list of some ideas for various types of learning. Obviously, like we talked about, on-the-job training and mentorship, there's in-house conference style training, bringing in experts, especially if you're connected in the community, you have friends or former colleagues that you know are experts in their field and you think would just be great to have to come speak to your team. Those are great opportunities to help them get involved and show some appreciation for your employees. Another unique learning that my team actually does in the office is book club. My director finds different books that he really enjoys reading and he thinks are really valuable for all of us, especially with different things going on today. And we'll try and read those together and talk about things that we like or that we agree on, or if there's things that we want to bring up throughout the book, and those help further everyone's knowledge a little bit more, but it's another type of learning that maybe you don't see day in and day out. There's peer-to-peer learning, like the mentorship I talked about, team sessions, gamification, offering different online games that are available to your employees to help them learn and grow that way. And then all of this is really central to Inspirity's values, everything we've been talking about today, putting your people first, taking care of them so that they help your organization, growing your team, giving them back because they put in so much time for you. Our founder, Paul Sarvadi, he's still our CEO, and he wrote a phenomenal book called Take Care of Your People, which is a great read for any business leaders, people that are managing a team, HR leaders. And we have a ton of copies of this book here at our office. So if this is something that interests you and you'd like me to send you a copy, again, I'll share my information for you all. I'll type it in the chat box again so that you have it. Shoot me an email or give me a phone call, and I will put this in the mail for you tomorrow so that you can have a copy of it. I love the book myself, and I still keep little tabs in all the pages for notes that I want to reference. Okay, so before we start taking questions that you all have, just wanted to kind of end with, it's been a trying year for everyone, but I really believe that together, businesses can come out on the other side of this and thriving, especially here in Hampton Roads. Like I said, it's a big area, but we're all pretty tight-knit, and I think everybody takes care of each other here. So it all comes back to investing in your people, providing flexibility, training opportunities, benefits that help take care of them and their families, and supporting them to help them reach their goals. So if anybody has any questions, I'd love to take those now, or if anybody just wants to chime in with a comment that they had about something that I said throughout the presentation.
Bethany, Liana had an idea when you were asking of questions to ask candidates. And this is something that we've been doing also, is asking people how they have pivoted through the pandemic, not medically, not asking them to get into personal medical information, but just, again, because it shows someone's ability to take this huge challenge that has been thrown at all of us and turn it into an opportunity. I had one candidate say he used it to go online to get do free degrees while he was furloughed. And, you know, it was like, oh, that's awesome. You know, I had another candidate who did not make it to the interview stage, but had put that they spent time teaching their dog new tricks, which is important, but that was not quite what I was looking for.
Well, I think taking care of your dog is pretty important. So I like their effort there. No, but I think that's great because there are some people that unfortunately maybe dealt with some layoffs at their organization and have been working to find a new role over the past couple of months or over the past year. And being able to share your experience, what you've gone through, how you've, maybe pivoted and worked on revamping your resume, got some different experience through volunteer programs in the community, worked on maybe your marketing and your online presence a little bit more. All of those things I think can help a candidate stand out from other people.
And it looks like our audience has gone shy, and you have been very, very thorough in answering all of their questions. So thank you, Bethany Curley, for this presentation. We will make Bethany's slides and the Zoom recording. We'll have that attached to our website. Leanne will do a quick little write-up about the event that we have today, and they'll be attached right to that. And for those of you who are looking for our next Chamber Education, it will be on Tuesday, April 20th. This is with Brenda Wise, and she's talking about, the follow-up and how do you do the follow-up now that we're in this virtual world. Brenda's been with us a few times for a couple different presentations, and she's pivoted. And so she's, helping us make the best out of every situation. And so hers is talking about the follow-up and how we can do this in this virtual world. So that will be April 20th. And I must put out my pitch once again. We are truly looking for sponsors for this Chamber Education series. We love bringing this content to our members at no cost, but we really need some sponsors to help us defer the cost. So if you or your company feel like you could become a sponsor, just let me or Liana know, and we would be love to have you do it. And you get to talk to this wonderful group of people who come in every month to hear what these wonderful lessons are. So Bethany, do you have any final thoughts that you want to share?
Well, actually, I did just see one more question come through the chat, if you don't mind me sharing that for a couple of minutes, because I think it's a good one.
Yes, let me pull that up. Do you have tips to help people return to the office, given that so many don't want to? And that is from Veronica.
That's, I think, a really fantastic question. And I'll kind of just share what we've been doing at Inspirity. But I think, again, this goes back to communicating with employees, asking them how they're feeling, what they're managing at home. Maybe people don't want to come back into the office because they've got 3 kids that they're trying to figure out how to teach as well. Or they're not comfortable. They might be high risk and things still aren't certain right now. So what we've done at Inspirity is and the offices that we're able to have been reopened, but it's just an option whether or not employees want to come in, and then making the workplace as comfortable and as safe as possible for the employees that do decide to come back in, having hand sanitizer and PPE available for everybody that wants it. Also having that flexibility to kind of come in and go as you want. So maybe even if somebody doesn't want to be in the office when everybody else is, but still wants to come into the office, maybe are they able to do a different set of hours? Maybe instead of coming in at 8, they can come in at lunchtime and stay a little later. Being flexible to accommodate your employees and what they're comfortable with right now, I think is key in that.
And it's interesting that in 2019, the big trend for the office space was shared office space and open.
Yep.
And now where everybody's switching it up again.
Complete change. It's yeah. But that's how it goes. We've got to be able to pivot and change pretty quickly these days.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This has been so valuable. And again, thank you to all of you who jumped on the Zoom today. We really appreciate you being there. And always let us know if you have an area that you are an expert in. Let us know, and we'd love to share your content as well. And let us know if there's an issue that you feel like, oh, we need to get an expert in on that, and we can check through our membership, and chances are we've got someone who can answer your question. So thank you all very much. Bethany, thank you so much. Inspirity, thank you for sharing Bethany with us today and all of your knowledge and your help. And I look forward to seeing all of you again next month.
Thank you all.